from the Major and Eugene.
What happened? Other than
the alien and the attacking, what was something that they had that was able to repel said alien?
It was a special alien water.
Alien water, or what was the other W word? A special weapon, right?
Yeah,
Special weapon, a secret weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves that secret weapon stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the thing that can do almost whatever to get rid of whatever needs. Yes, ma'am. You have your hand up, or you're just stretching? See, I like when you guys are visiting all these different planets. I think the last one I came on, I believe, was Venus. But do you guys remember anything about Venus real quick? Anybody here? Yes, Sarah.
It's really hot.
Yes, it's really, really, really hot. Again, it's the hottest planet. You would think, and some people consider Jupiter like a failed sun because it has primarily the same gases as the sun, just didn't ignite, didn't have enough mass.
The only reason that it's the hottest planet is because the sun isn't a planet. If the sun is a planet, then not the sun.
Well, the sun is a star, but the hottest planet, Venus, what makes it so hot?
Why is
You
my
guys
foot
remember?
so close to this thing?
Don't knock it over.
Not because of not necessarily because of the sun.
Because it's a volcano.
Only that. What else makes it so
It
hot?
falls down. It falls down
Real
every
quick.
single time. Falls down every single
Well, it is close to the sun,
All
but
right,
what makes
pay
it so
attention.
hot? Let's try to remember what makes Venus so hot. And then I'm going to ask you different questions because I wasn't here for Mars. It's the atmosphere. The atmosphere. Greenhouse effect. Right? You'll hear those words again. Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot of planet.
It actually, the last time they sent a probe, it actually melted within a half hour. That's how hot it is.
It's not that bad. It's more than 1 second.
Okay, so who can tell me, what did you guys learn about Mars last week? Anybody? Because I wasn't here for that. Anybody? Tell me a little bit about Mars.
I wasn't there.
Tell me what did the Major and Eugene do? Did anything happen on Mars? When they went to visit it? I know it's red. Yes, Athena, you look like you really got something for me. A piece of what?
He did give him a piece of his hair last week.
Okay. So, what about the lesson? Anything about the lesson last week? Like, what was the whole reason behind all of it? Anything? They're best friends? That's it? Okay. Caleb.
Huh?
A rock? They were trying to find a rock? Okay.
Ooh, pick me. Ooh.
Austin, can you...
Ooh.
MVP. What?
Ooh. I remember what we talked about on Mars. We talked about, because Major Tom was sharing all these facts about Mars with Eugene, and
Okay.
we were talking about how friends help each other learn new things. And yeah, because that's what we learned.
We learned.
We learned.
I didn't learn, so I need to know. And since I couldn't get any help, so I got to go to the MVP.
We learned about friendship and how friends are there to encourage each other and build each other up. But that's what we talked about on Mars, because Major Tom was sharing all these facts with Eugene about Mars. So we talked about that last week.
Now, what did you learn about Earth? Because I know Earth was there.
Earth was there. We talked about how Earth was... For Earth, we talked about how Earth was hurting and how there's a lot of people who were hurting on planet Earth. We talked about how to pray for those kind of people who were kind of hurting and sad, and that's what we talked about on
Okay, so
Earth.
we're talking about hurt. So the theme of you, and then the hurt.
Yeah.
And then pray for those, and then the friendship.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I can't wait to hear.
And now we're on Jupiter.
Now we're on Jupiter.
Now we're on Jupiter. Andrew has already added our Jupiter poster up on our planet wall over there. We're a little crooked, but that's okay.
Well, Jupiter's not exactly straight.
That's right. So, what did he say that big red spot was on Jupiter? Mr. Doug just told you. What was it, Elijah?
Like a lot of storms.
A lot of storms. Who would say storms are pretty powerful? Would you say storms have a lot of power in them?
And power.
Have power? Mr. Doug, do you think the storms on Jupiter are pretty powerful? Some powerful
extremely.
storms? Yeah.
Like they're so big. I mean, you think how big Jupiter is. A lot of Earths can fit and Jupiter. So imagine a constant storm all over.
All
Earth,
over the place, yeah.
pouring on it like maple syrup.
There you
Sounds
go.
terrible, don't it?
It does sound terrible. I don't know if I like
No,
that.
I don't like that idea.
I don't like that. But Mr. Doug, you said an interesting word that kind of described the anti-alien water or anti-alien spray, whatever we want to call it, that Eugene used on the air. What was that word you used?
Athena, do you remember what that word was? What was that word? Not a hamburger. They didn't use a hamburger on the alien.
A weapon. A weapon. Okay, okay. Well, what is a weapon? Who can tell me? What is a weapon, Angel?
Kind of like a meter stick or like
Like a beater stick? Okay. Michaela?
the Bible.
Oh, that is a weapon. You were a little bit ahead of me, but yes. What else? What kind of other weapons are out there? Hamburgers? Yeah. Throw hamburgers at people. Take that. Take that.
That's a mod on a video game.
Yeah. Elijah?
A frying pan.
A frying pan. If you're Rapunzel and Tangled, yeah. A frying pan could be a weapon. Who else has got a weapon for me? What's a weapon? What's a weapon? A what? A worm? Okay, yeah. Oh, a bomb? I thought you said a worm. I was like, a worm could be a weapon, yeah. But bombs, okay. Savannah?
Anything.
Anything could be a weapon, okay. Athena? What? Sword, knife, guns, okay. Gabby? Bats? Okay. Michaela?
God.
Okay, you ahead of me, okay. I'm going to go to you last.
We're just going to put you in your special box.
Sarah? Pointy stick, okay. Elijah?
Why are you looking at me?
A rock? Angel?
You can use you as a weapon.
A chair? Okay, okay. Well, Mr. Duck and Andrew have some secret weapons over here.
Run.
Don't run. Stay in your seats.
Stay here. Oh.
Oh, man.
I want it.
Mr. Doug and Andrew, kind of show them what kind of weapons we have over there.
Well, we got the biggie over here. Stay in your seat.
Stay in your
We got
seat.
the biggie over here. We got this thing right here. I had to pick it up first because I'm a big guy. But it can go to the smaller guy too because he might need it more than me. We got here this sickle thing. Usually you can use this to harvest people or
No.
grain.
It's supposed to be the other way around.
We got a little pistol here. We got Mike Myers and probably Jason Voorhees' favorite weapons right here. Got some machete knives, you know what I'm saying? Go deep.
There we go, there we go.
And we got this little flintlock right here. You know, they used to do duels back in the day with these. You know, 10 pace, turn around, boom. Gotta love them. And then we got this Indiana Jones thing right here. Watch shoot, watch shoot. You know,
Oh,
cat nine tails. You know, you heard about these whips, right?
Yeah.
Good weapons.
Good
I love
weapons.
These weapons. These are really good weapons. I'm gonna have to take some of these.
This is Mr. Doug's weapon store. That was his TV voice.
Now, if you would like to purchase one of these weapons, you can come up to me and give me $19.95. But wait, there's more. I can probably throw you some fake ammo with it too.
There we go. So if you wanna, if you,
But really,
Go ahead.
all these different weapons can be used defensively or offensively. And that's key,
Darren.
right? Defense or offense, because even with like bullets and stuff, because we have a lot of people here that do carry,
yeah,
right? This is now I'm going to be serious. We have a lot of people that are carrying. They're not doing it to boast. They're doing it as a defensive measure in case something bad happens. Now, we're going to correlate that with something very special that God allows us to use as a weapon against the enemy.
that's right. Because we use weapons against our. Say it again, because they weren't paying attention. Say, who do we use our weapons against, or those
The
weapons
enemy?
against? The enemy. Who is our enemy?
The devil.
I'm looking for people raising their hand up. Tamara, who is our enemy? The devil. The devil. Now we can't go into Mr. Doug's weapon store over here and use Nerf guns or whips or pistols or what else you got over there? Little blasters. He said that was a Mike Myers sword. We don't have anything like that, but we do have a secret weapon. We do have a secret weapon. But before we get to that, our enemy, as it says in Ephesians 6:2, who can read this for me? Who can read our verse for me today? Let me see. Michaela, go ahead and read that verse for me.
For our
Struggle.
The struggle is not
I'll get
against
you one.
flesh and blood, but against the rules, against the
Authorities.
against the powers of this dark
World.
world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms.
Ephesians.
Ephesians 6:12.
Very good job. Yeah, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Which means, boys and girls, we are in a fight. As Christians, we are in a fight, but we are not fighting people. We're not fighting each other.
Fighting the devil.
We're fighting the devil. We are fighting the devil. Because is the devil a mean guy or a nice guy?
Mean, awful guy that I can knock out with one punch. Naked.
Who's saying? Everybody say mean. We're all in agreement. The devil's a mean guy. Yeah. Yeah. What does the devil want to do? What is his goal? What is he trying? What is he trying to do? What's he trying to do? Let me help me. What's the devil trying to do? What's his goal? What's his plan?
He's trying to make us do bad stuff and try and make us hit everyone.
Okay, make us do bad things like sin. Okay, Gabby. He's going to try to rule the world. Okay, who else? Tamara, I saw your hand up.
He probably wants us to be on his team instead of God's.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother lesson right there.
It's right on.
It's right on there. Yeah, good. That's a good one. Yeah, he's trying to deceive and manipulate people to be on his side instead of God's side. That's a good one. Let me see. These are all good answers. Let me see. Anthony.
He's trying to burn kids.
Okay, he's trying to hurt people. Okay.
Can you put that down?
He's trying to do what?
Kill Jesus.
Okay, yeah, he did try to kill Jesus. Yeah, he manipulated and tried to kill Jesus on the cross. Michaela?
Trying to get us and scare us in this way that he can take advantage of us. That's why we don't go with Jesus.
Okay, trying to scare us. I'm going to try to get to everybody here, so keep your hand up. Angel?
He's trying to defeat God and try to take our souls.
Okay, Elijah?
So he doesn't really want us to be good. He wants us to sin. He wants us to go to hell. He wants
Mm-hmm.
us to be bad people. He doesn't want us on God's side.
Okay, Athena? He wants to do what? Disobey? Darren?
If you want to destroy everything,
He wants to destroy everything? Okay, Emily?
he could kill us with a sword.
He could try to kill us? Okay. Yeah, those are pretty good answers, right,
Those
Mr.
are
Doug?
pretty good answers.
Andrew, pretty good answers?
He could
Huh?
kill us with his own bare hands.
Angel, there's one more? Did I call on you? Okay.
He's trying to defeat God so he can be the king.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you all.
Sarah?
He's trying to break through the floor with a knife and kill us.
He's trying to break through a floor. Okay. Andrew, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Those are all good answers. But let me tell you, the devil
Wants God's power.
already knows he's lost. It's not, oh, God and him aren't fighting for the power, because they did. They did. And the devil lost. So he already knows he's lost. But what he wants, his main goal now, is to trick you guys into sinning and to go to hell with him. Because he already knows that his time is short. He wants to take... Has anybody, when your sibling gets in trouble, or if you get in trouble, then you're like, no. But my sibling did the same exact thing. You try to... I know I'm in trouble, but I'm trying to get anybody else in trouble. I'm trying to take the punishment that I did, but try to blame it on somebody else so they get in trouble too. You see, let's just...
Misery loves company.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
The devil is trying to trick us to doing bad things so we go to hell.
Because it's not, because he does, because the thing is, he already knows he's lost. But if he takes as many souls with him, he said, see how many people I got, God?
Mm-hmm.
They're not with you, they're stuck with me. And while I'm in misery, they're in misery. And he's trying to point his finger at God saying, this is what I got. Ha ha to you. That's essentially what he's wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to say at the end of times, like, and they're going to be with me for eternity. And that's why it's very important when we try to stress the idea of, you may not think that some sins are bad, but the devil's like, that's exactly what I want them to think.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly where I want them, because if they think that may not be so bad, the other things that they could do later, they may not think is so bad. Until finally, at the end of time, when there's no way to get out of the decision that we made, we can't go, oh, I made a mistake, too late.
Once you go to hell, there's no turning back.
That's the ultimate consequence. While this life is, I consider it a pit stop, because it's very short compared to eternity, wherever it's going to be. And the devil wants as many people as possible. That's why it's important that we try to learn about sin and trying to avoid as much as possible, because we all sin daily. Sometimes we didn't mean to, but we do. That's why God gave us the power of forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
the power of prayer to say, hey, you know, I messed up. Or the power to help others, because do you want to see your friend in misery? I mean, honestly, we shouldn't. God doesn't. Yes, ma'am.
But God said that once you're in heaven, there will be no tears of sin. He will probably erase everything about the person out of your mind.
But you got to get there first.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we get there? Raising hands. How do we get there? Sarah?
Tell God
you're
to
fine.
save us.
Tell God to save us. Okay,
Doesn't always-
Elijah.
To pray and do as best you can besides sinning.
Angel.
To help others and to make sure that
Huh? That's God. Alright. Yes, Darren.
when we run from sharks because you're gonna get eaten.
Yeah.
What Mr. Doug and Andrew are trying to get to you guys is the devil is real. There are a lot of people there are people out in the world who think he's fake. Sin is real. And the devil is a pretty sneaky guy. And he tries to manipulate. And these guys have told you things about our enemy, which is why I have a question. Do you know your enemy? Because when you're in a fight, you need to know what you're up against. You need to know what the other person is trying to do, what his plays are, what his goal is. I hope you guys are paying attention, because Mr. Doug and Andrew were sharing with the devil's what he's like, what he's trying to do. It's like when the Detroit Lions play. I mean, they usually lose. But if you're on a football team like with Detroit Lions, throughout the week, or any football team, or any sports team really, you look at a videotape of your opponent. And you look at they watch the other team and say, okay, what did this other team do? How does that other team play baseball? How do they play football? What kind of trick plays do we need to look for? And what Mr. Doug and Andrew have shared are kind of like the devil's trick plays. What his goal is, what he tries to do, how he tries to get people away, and how he tries to distract. Because the devil does distract. And he does pull people away. So
That's why we have our
this means war.
all four legs on the floor.
It's a war. But all hope is not lost. All hope is not lost. Yes, we know we can't use our objects over here as a weapon, but Mr. Doug said we have a what? He said we had a secret weapon. Whoever wishes that they had a secret weapon, like if you were dealing with like bullies at school or something, you could just pull a secret weapon out and be like, say hello to my little friend. Ah, secret weapon time.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, who can read this verse? Right here. Who can read this verse for me? In 2 Corinthians 10:4, what's it say, Elijah?
We use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reason and to destroy
All right, so we use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to do what this says, and also to combat. Now, we know it's not Nerf guns, it's not whips, it's not fake pistols, it's not fake swords. What are God's mighty weapons that this is talking about? I know you know, Michaela, so we'll go to you now. Now it's your time.
The Bible.
The Bible, okay, yeah. The sword of the Spirit. That's right, because we all know the armor of God, right? How the Bible is the sword of the Spirit. We've talked about the Bible and why it's important to read the Bible and study the Bible, to use that as a sword. Yes, Savannah. Christians, okay, other Christians to build each other up. That can be kind of a weapon because there's strength in numbers for sure. The Bible is one. What's another one? What's another mighty weapon that we could use against the devil here? Elijah, what do you think?
Right houses.
What?
Right houses.
What?
I didn't hear what you
Think
said, buddy.
of the armor of God.
Are you saying? What are you trying to say?
I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Right houses.
It's all right.
Red.
It's all right.
What are those hands doing?
Are you saying lighthouses?
He said no.
Righteousness.
Righteousness.
Righteousness? Okay, righteousness. There you go. Okay, yeah. Mr. Doug gave you guys a hint. What's another weapon? He already said it. I heard him give you guys a hint. What's another weapon, Angel?
Coach is gonna pick the English thing.
What? Ah, praying.
Ah.
Aha! Praying, the whole thing that we've been talking about, because we are in week 5, 6 of our series about prayer. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6. We are in week 6 of our little series on prayer as we've been learning about prayer, and prayer is a weapon. Because how many of you believe that prayer is powerful? Prayer is a weapon we can use. It's one of those mighty weapons that God has given us to fight against the devil. And like Mr. Doug said, what were the 2 words he used about weapons? There are two kinds of reasons to use weapons. One started with an O, one started with a D. What were they, Michaela?
Think football team.
Yeah.
Well, if you're the
Defend?
Lions, yeah. Well, that's good enough.
You're the Lions.
Defense,
Defensive.
Defense, offense.
There it is. Defense and offense. Yes, Angel. Or did he just... That's what you were going to say? Defensive and offensive. That's right. The devil, yeah. Prayer and using the Bible can be offensive and defensive weapons. Mr. Doug, how can prayer be a weapon against the devil?
Well, think about it like if you're in trouble, and you got somebody you got to call. Remember, God's going to be there. Like, he's instantaneous. There is no waiting period on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it in that terms. Like if you're praying, God, I need help with this particular problem. Okay, what type of problem is it? Uh-oh. See? That's what happens when you play around.
Twice. 1 down. Strike 2.
Yeah.
Wow, all right.
Keep on going, Mr. Doug.
Well, all right. So anyway, so if you use prayer, like, God, I really need your help with this. Or there's a pray without ceasing. I know you guys heard that before.
So not fair.
Because even through your day, if you're having like issues, like, Lord, just let me get through this, let me get through this day. Lord, let me get through this problem. Let me get past this person. Relieve me of this awful feeling. He can help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all, because those awful feelings, those could be from the devil. That's all that stuff, and God's like, I can handle this. Because that's what God wants to do. He wants to handle everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first to tell you that I don't always go to him for stuff, and I just make things worse when I try to do it on my own.
Yep.
Because I'm not being defensive or offensive. I'm just being
something.
Yeah.
I'm just being something. And ends up making it a whole lot worse instead of giving it to God. Because God's like, I want this. You're my kids. I want to help you. I want to make sure you're, in a happy place. I want to make sure you're content. I don't want to see you miserable. And that's the weapons of prayer, because you're constant communication.
Yep.
Your best friend, your father, whatever you want to call it. If you got a best friend that helps, if you confide in a best friend, or you confide in a parent, or a trusted person, don't they often make you feel better?
Yeah.
Can't they often give you good advice about how to handle things? Or show you a different way to get past an obstacle? That's God.
Mm-hmm.
And prayer is a weapon. Lord, I need you. Can you make the enemy flee from me? Enemy has to go. Enemy has to go. He might come back, but he has to go. Guess Elijah.
Yeah.
The fountains are still out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any.
We don't have any water bottles down here. It's kind of like this. Well, Mr. Doug is absolutely right. Prayer is a direct communication to God. Come here, Andrew.
Come here, Andrea.
Come here. Come
I
here.
know the drill.
No, you don't. We've never done this before. Well, maybe we have.
Wait, maybe.
And come here, Elijah.
He said,
He's like, I know what to do. Let's say Elijah and Andrew are at the same school. We're using our imagination. And Elijah
I would be really
I'm the boy.
either I
and Andrew was
held back.
Yeah, held back for a while. Andrew was picking on Elijah.
Uh-oh.
This is what I would do.
Bully.
Get away from me.
Let's say Andrew was bullying Elijah. And so Elijah looked at Andrew and was like,
Get bullied.
and who wants to, you want to pick on him or do you want to pick on him?
I want to pick on him.
Okay, so we'll scratch that. That makes it better actually. So Elijah is picking on Andrew, but Andrew knows that if he calls me, I will deal with this little pest right here.
Oh.
So we're gonna say that Elijah,
You just step on my
that
toe.
Andrew comes home from school, and he says he comes home from school, and he's like, Pastor Austin,
Pass Austin.
there's a bully at school. I need your help.
Bully at school, I need your help.
And so and see, Mr. Doug, that's what you were saying about prayer. How prayer is a communication to God. When we have direct communication to God, like he said,
Shut
in
up,
his
Miss
example,
Doug.
He said that we can pray and say, God, please keep the enemy away from me. And what God does, or what I would do, is be like, come here, boy. Come
Get
here.
away,
Come
bully.
here. Come
Get
here.
away.
And I would take Elijah, and I would gently set him back in his chair.
Now, who remembers that story in the Bible, David and Goliath?
It doesn't work.
Anybody remember that story, David and Goliath? Yeah? What was so great about Goliath? Huh? He was huge. Who was afraid of him?
Not everyone.
Except,
For David. David.
and what did David have of all things to take down this
All he
huge
needed
giant?
God. All
He
he
had God and
needed.
what else?
All he needed was a slingshot and a rock. Right.
And he picked 5 smooth stones, right? Which they say was probably for his brothers.
Yep.
Because, remember, they were trying to give David armor. They were trying to give David a sword. They were trying to give him all these earthly weapons. And he's like, but I have the greatest weapon of all. I have God.
That's right.
And what did God do? That big obstacle, that giant who had all this stuff on, who was probably impervious to a bunch of different things, God was able to find that weak spot in the enemy and knock him out cold.
Yep.
Real cold.
Real cold. Dead cold.
But that's what God can do. Because that's what God wants to do. He wants to help people.
That's right.
The right way. Not the wrong way. The right way.
Not help people fight.
And that's why we kind of put this with Jupiter, because the devil can seem like a big opponent, kind of like Goliath. The devil can seem like a big obstacle. But, like Mr. Doug said, just like David had God, we have God to help us out and to pray and communicate. Now, the devil, do you think he wants us to pray or no? No. No. And so sometimes he'll try to distract us. Like when I wake up in the morning, one of the first things I try to do is spend some time reading my devotion. I need everybody looking up here. We're almost done.
Listen.
is I started to make some time to do my devotional and pray. And want to know what happens every time I go to pray? Want to know what happens? My phone goes off. A notification blows up. The email goes off.
I gotta check that Facebook.
Yep. I got to check social media. You want to know what that is?
The devil.
The devil distracting us from praying. Because he knows. He knows. It is a weapon, but he's not so secret because he knows about it and he don't like it. He don't like us doing it. Because he knows that he can't beat God.
Like we said, he already knows that he lost.
He knows he lost. And when he knows that we're going to God for prayer, like David did, and going to God for help, he's like, oh, no. I got to stop this. This is a cool quote. Every one of your prayers is a mighty weapon. We just don't realize it. That's why sometimes when you go to pray, or maybe it even happens to some of you here, when you go to pray after worship or at the end of service, and we go to pray, and all of a sudden we all get distracted.
Like,
The worship band's up.
I hear him.
like your phone keeps on dropping.
No, that's for when I'm up here talking. But
That's probably.
the devil doesn't like us praying. There's a story in the Bible about Daniel. Real quick, here's a story about Daniel in the Bible. Daniel was praying, and he was praying, and he was praying. He prayed for 21 days.
3 weeks.
3 weeks he kept on praying. And finally, he saw an angel. And the angel said to him, Daniel, God sent me to give you the answer to your prayer as soon as you prayed it. But I had to fight off these dark spirits, the devil. The Bible calls it the Prince of Persia, which was a way to reference the devil in the Old Testament. But the devil can kind of try and block us from praying. I'm like, well, just give up praying. It's not going to work. And we're going to talk about this in a few weeks, like Mr. Doug said earlier, about persistent praying. And then never stop praying. And the prayer that we're going to talk about next week is a prayer for the devil for sure does not want us to pray. Because as you guys said, he wants us to kind of be mad at each other. And kind of fight amongst each other. The type of prayer that we're going to talk about next week, or really, Mr. Andrew is going to talk about next week.
Because Pastor Austin is not going to be here.
Well, I'm going to be here. I'm just not going to be down here.
He's going to be preaching to the adults.
I've been asked to talk upstairs. So Mr. Andrew, Mr. Doug, and I think Miss Louise is going to come, and they're going to make sure that y'all behave. But the prayer that Mr. Andrew is going to talk to you about is a prayer, but the devil does definitely not want us to pray.
Well, if you got Miss Louise, you're not going to be down.
Oh, yes, I will. Because I'm not going to be down here.
Because that's one man show.
So, I already have my selected. These guys are selected. Mr. Doug can help Mr. Andrew out. And Miss Louise, make sure y'all stay quiet because y'all going to be energetic because y'all going to be waiting for that surprise on Sunday.